Well, hey, welcome back to the I-995 Impala SS YouTube channel. Today, we're going to go over the Impala. I'm going to show you guys all the little quirks and stuff that I ended up having wrong with it on Power Tour this year. Stuff I didn't think I was going to have go wrong. It did. So, let's get into it. So, overall, the car did really well. I ended up getting a slight vibration in it about 3,500 miles into the trip. So on our way back yesterday. I think the tires are a little out of balance right now. So we're going to have to get that taken care of, get that sent into discount or wherever. Have balance, rotated, whatever. It's about that. So as we start into the engine compartment, a couple things I had yesterday go wrong. First thing, I had an oil leak that developed. I thought it was coming out of this breather. It's just a little vent breather from the PVCs. You can see I thought it was leaking out of there and coming out onto the valve cover, then down. It's oily. Very well could be. Let's check the rag out here. I mean, the rag is not oily. Not oily. So definitely wasn't my issue. Turned out after I put the rag on there, I started looking, and as you guys saw in yesterday's video, there was oil seeping out from here. Well, it turned out that the little gasket right there on my cap disappeared. Now, I don't know if it fell into there. I don't know if it just came off and I wasn't paying attention, but yeah, that's where I was getting my oil leak from. So I didn't check the oil level on it today since we got back, so let's see where it's at. And yeah, you can see now we're nice and full. We didn't use any. So definitely the oil leak was from that. So that was kind of a weird phenomenon that took place. If you guys have one of these cars and it's stock, you will have the oil tube that fits on there, and then the cap actually screws onto that. You can just take your cap off, unscrew that tube, and put that on there. Looks a little bit more cleaner, but that's because you have home plate on there, and it allows for easy filling for that. So what I ended up doing was buying this, because at O'Reilly's they didn't have an actual gasket. Is that a gasket? The rubber that I just showed you. They didn't have the rubber in stock. And of course, the cap that I have is a different style than what it was, but it did have the rubber on it. So I bought this, stole the rubber, paid $8 for a 30-cent O-ring, but, well, I'm sure I can use this cap on something. Yep, going on the shelf. So my next order of business, issue-wise, that I had was the air conditioner. The system was freezing up, and I've had a couple HVAC people tell me that, oh, it's overcharged, it's undercharged, you know, replace the high pressure switch, low pressure switch. Did that, replaced them, nothing. Well, we were day, I don't know, one, traveling down, and it was getting warmer and warmer and warmer and warmer inside. This was not working, so I figured, okay, it's probably undercharged. So the good old trick, like I did in the Trailblazer, bought a couple cans of Freon and I started putting them in. Well, the gauge on the Freon thing, as you guys may or may not know, it's got a little indicator on it. Let me show you. A little frosted up, but it's got a, the green is good, red is bad, blue is undercharged. And where it was when I was putting it on there was up in the red, you know, just up there, which that's not good. It's not good. So I did the right thing, and I put it on my evap thing, and I went to an AC shop and removed some of the junk that was in there. Well, it turns out the whole system had way too much oil in it. Like, this whole canister was full of oil. It looked like the dye that they put in there for checking for leaks for RV, the AC, whatever, the UV light. So I didn't do that. I've never put that stuff in there. I've never charged it in this car. I had it rebuilt at a shop, and it's always frozen up. I just never drove it for a long period of time where it mattered. I could just cycle the system and it was fine. But it's kind of annoying. So all the oil was in there and it started coming out like bad, like oozing down. And when it was oozing down bad, it was dribbling down the side here. It was all going down in my control arm and it was just spraying everywhere. It was nasty. So after some of the oil got released out of there, that little pressure gauge started going back to where it was needed to be. And the system started working. And when the compressor started kicking on, the actual system started cooling off like it's supposed to. So still was up in the red a little bit on that gauge. I didn't want to monkey with it because it was working. It's working properly. I only had it start to freeze up on the bottom part of that system, which before it would be the whole thing, the tubes all the way into the firewall. Everything was just frozen solid. So I didn't want to monkey with it. But at some point here coming up, I think the correct course of action is going to be drain that whole thing down to nothing. Take it all apart and get as much of that oil I can. There's a little screen in there. Probably clean that guy out. Recharge it to the correct pressure, which, yeah, I'd have to find it. It's not on there. Usually it tells you how many PSIs you got to put on there with one of the warning stickers. But recharge it and get the system back to where it needs to be. And I think that'll take care of my problem from freezing up. But we'll see. So that was an AC issue that we had. Second AC issue that we had was actually leaving Nashville on our way to Hoover. The fan, the blower motor, started sounding like a dying giraffe. So it was just like ree, ree, ree. And it kept getting slower and slower and slower. And then soon enough, there was not anything blowing out of the vents. Nope, can't have that. So started shopping around and O'Reilly's had one. So as you guys saw in a couple of videos back, changed out the blower motor. Didn't expect that to go out. Here we are, it did. So worked fine ever since. So no issues with that after that was changed out. Oil leak was taken care of. A little vibration in the front end. Of course, next thing is the exhaust. So as you guys saw yesterday, my exhaust passenger side is low. And I think it's all connected. It just, I think that clamp came loose and it started twisting downward. So it wasn't that low. It was enough. I don't remember where we were, getting coffee or something. I had some speed bumps. Hit a speed bump. I heard it lower down. Checked it over, exhaust was still coming out, wasn't leaking. So kind of shifted some stuff around in the car and made it work, but the exhaust definitely needs to get addressed. So looking at it from this side, you can definitely see that it's tweaked over. So fun stuff. If you remember my list, I had it on my list to take care of that side specifically because it was a little cockeyed. That should have been my hint that it was loose and shifted at some point in the last 10 years because they weren't even like they were when I put them in. My fault. Should have done it. I didn't. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not all terrible because those mufflers are loud. I actually had a guy come up to me at the event who has a 96. He was asking me what brand they were, Hooker. And he wants his to be loud like mine. I told him it's all fine and dandy except for when you go on really super long road trips. So there's certain speeds, they sing. And they sing rattle in your brain. And if you don't have earplugs, which we did, it's loud. So I might get some quieter ones. I originally went with the Hooker setup because my first Impala had that and I just fell in love with the way it sounded. Of course, the 18-year-old kid, and you try to relive your childhood the best you can. So when I got this one, that's the same setup that I went with. Sounds exactly the same as my first one. And also, I didn't want to go with Flowmaster because everyone and their brother has Flowmasters, and I'm just not a fan of Flowmasters. So Hooker was the way that I went, but I might be trying to figure out something different. I don't know, maybe a resonator tip or something underneath the quarter panel, like stock style. I don't know. A lot of projects, a lot of stuff on my mind. Other than that, I have a 160 thermostat, and I think the hottest I saw it was 192, which is really good. So I did start losing coolant, and check it out today. And it's actually up there. So before I ended up going on the trip, I bought a new cap. Never had a cap, never had issues with it. I just was like, you know what? It's got that little blow off sticker on the top. If you guys don't know, all that is a little sticker. It gets too much pressure in the system, it'll pop that sticker off. They're designed to do that. But one of my other cap was starting to get and I didn't want to have any issues with it, so I just got a new cap. Since I put the water pump on in 2019, never touched the coolant, never added anything to it, never did anything to it. But it was getting low to the point for the last day. It's got a little sensor right there. See it rip? It was activating, so my low coolant light came on. Also, you got out of the car and you could smell it. Initially, I thought it might be the heater core, and it's not coming inside the cab, and the floor is not wet on that side. However, you do smell it when you get outside the car. So it's weeping out from somewhere. I never changed out my lines. Maybe it's time for those to get changed out. Maybe the radiator's got a split somewhere and I'm not seeing, and it's evaporating and dripping off to wherever. I don't know. But I do believe that there's a little bit of coolant leakage somewhere because I can smell it. And we lost what we did. So that's going to have to get addressed. Coming up video. So last issue I had is my check engine light came on. I know I showed the one video and the ABS light was on, check engine light was on, change oil light comes on. Change oil light comes on in these cars after 3,000 miles, just continuous. That's just what the computer's designed to do. I could have reset it, the gas pedal. I didn't. Just as, because I am going to change the oil in it. Check engine light was going on, it was going off. I was switching between mid-grade, premium. I think I even ran a tank of regular in there. And it would seem to cycle through when it was like a decent blend of all of it, I guess. I don't know. So maybe an O2 sensor is finally going out on me. Could be continuity with this water pump front thing, but whenever you get the check engine light on in one of these cars, puts the car in limp mode, and it turns on your cooling fans. So the AC going all the time, car check engine light going all the time. Both cooling fans were running all the time. Not a bad thing, kept it cool, but not ideal for performance. So I'm going to have to dive into that check engine light. It could even be that map sensor that we changed out. I don't know. I'm just throwing out kind of, ideas that I'm thinking that I was thinking while I was staring at it for 3,800 miles. Who knows? But we'll dive into that here probably this week, because I got a bucket list to, make a list to make a list, and you make another list to finish that list to make another one. So yeah. Other than that, trunk, we had rained on a lot, stayed nice and bone dry. The little supports, they did well, did their job, jam-packed stuff in here, and they were tested, because we got these chairs and everything else. The trunk was packed full. It did sit a little squatted down at the bottom, and I did bring a set of air shocks that I have for Bert, but I did not put them on because, of course, roadside repairs, putting shocks on something, I just dealt with it. Something I'm needing to think about. I've never done shocks on this car or ball joints or any of the suspension components. So it's probably time. And maybe air shocks is the way to go. Maybe I'll bag it, put an Eibach lowering kit on it. I don't know. Maybe. Probably do something. But anyway, so those were my issues that I ended up having on Powertour. Did you guys go? Did your cars survive? There was a lot of hot cars out there. They were driving in, hoods open, side of the highway. We saw a lot of them that broke down. Pullover helped a bunch of guys. And they're like, nah, I'm good. I just got to wait for this bad unit to cool down. Okay. So we'll let them sit in the AC for a little bit, cool off themselves, and followed them back to their next event so they could get to where they were going in a timely fashion. But there was just a ton of cars. It was a very, very hot Powertour. Hottest one I've ever been on, but what do you get? It's a South, it's a Powertour. It's the South. What else can you say? So overall, I know that there was a lot of negative comments on Facebook on the heat and the venues. My personal opinion, you try to fit that many people into a venue, you're going to have hiccups. I mean, you take someone's word for it and just, I don't know, stuff happens. It's what you make of it. I enjoyed it personally. Heather enjoyed it. Christopher enjoyed it. Everyone we talked to enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to next year. Not sure if we're going to bring the Impala or bring Angus. Angus is looking kind of rough right now. But I'd like to bring Angus. Probably won't do a long haul on it. Just because I want to make something different. Maybe we'll go to a different car show or something. But yeah. So that's going to wrap it up for this video. Short and sweet. Those were the issues that I ended up having on Powertour with the Impala. Got some work ahead of me. So stay tuned for those future videos. Also, stay tuned because as soon as I get done filming this, I'm going to pull the Impala out. Got a garage sale coming up, so I got to clean the garage. Yay. And then I'm going to start working on Angus. Got that LS I got to drop into it. Tranny. I'm going to marry those up, mock everything up. Talked to a lot of guys at Powertour that had these LS swapped, and they basically set them in the home stretch now. So I'm going to get back onto this. Hopefully have this thing running here in the next couple weeks. Share you guys what I do's and you know, the stuff. Bring you along. That's what I'm trying to say. So appreciate all the new subscribers. Hit 400. Might not be important to someone. It's important to me. Thank you, everyone. And if you like what you see, drop a comment. Add some stuff. Change, like, subscribe, share, whatever. You know, all the fun YouTube stuff. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.